All right, welcome everyone. Happy Monday, and welcome to our newsletter. What's up, Kevin?
What's going on?
I'm excited to dive into these brands. Let's see. Today we're going to cover number one, a franchise that shows 2.2 million in average sales with a very strong franchise brand. And that's for franchisees that have been in production for 25 months or more. But we'll give all the breakdown of the numbers in a little bit. We'll talk about a lower cost resale in Texas with big upside potential. We're going to talk about some experienced entrepreneurs that decided to pivot and buy a franchise and why. And we are going to hit on 4 Recession Proof Franchises business breakdown. This was a podcast episode that we'll tell you about as well. So, tell us about this resale, Kevin?
Nice. Okay, so this is a resale that, not to sound like salesy, but it will probably go pretty quickly because of the brand and the market it's in. So it's Mr. Electric. It's a neighborly company. And as you may guess, Mr. Electric does electrical work. So they do like new installs, repairs, safety stuff. They do about 80% residential, 20% commercial work. So like I mentioned, it's a Neighborly brand. They've been around since 1994. They were acquired by Neighborly in 2007. They have close to 200 units throughout the country now. This particular resale is in Fort Worth. So Fort Worth is, again, the DFW area is one of the fastest growing areas in the country. This is a pretty big territory. It's been around since 2007, this particular Mr. Electric. And the last year revenue was $350,000. So, that right there is just kind of an indicator that this is probably, a more of a turnaround opportunity where it's a huge market and a great brand. And it's, well under the system-wide average. But, and I'd be curious to know why it is, but the asking price is reflective of that. So it's $190,000. There is a vehicle and tools equipment included in the sale. So this one was just listed this past week. The other thing I wanted to note here is that Neighborly's headquarters is in Waco, Texas. They also have an office in Dallas. They have a huge presence in that area amongst all their brands. So day one, you're going to have massive brand awareness. You're going to have a lot of other owners you can network with. You're going to have a lot of support that's very nearby. That's why I'm saying, I don't think this is going to last long. I think it's a really good opportunity to get into a brand in a prime market. We usually don't see Neighborly brands available in that area of Texas because they have such a good presence. So this one, if you look at the FDD numbers, they show an average sales for territories that are 500,000 population or more. So I don't know why this wouldn't fit that criteria. I don't know 100% for sure, but I'm guessing Fort Worth is definitely 500K population or more. So the average sales is about 1.6 million. So this one's doing 350. You can tell it's quite a bit less than, what system-wide is showing. Electrical work is constantly evolving with new technologies. So there usually is a high demand for this stuff, including solar, electrical cars, installing those charging systems. So there's just a lot of room for growth here. And it's something that people don't tend to be comfortable doing on their own because it can be very dangerous work. So the other thing we like about most Neighborly brands is they do have a call center. So, they're going to do a lot of marketing to generate leads for you. They have a call center at corporate that's included in the royalty fee that will answer all those and get them on your electrician's calendar. So I do think this is one you can also do semi-passively. Actually, we've had a couple people do it semi-passively to start. I know Tarek doesn't love that, but I think it is one that is possible to do and they allow for that. So that's pretty much it. Low overhead. You could do this out of your home to start with and then eventually grow into an office space. But what did I miss here, Tarek?
Boom. Yeah, it's funny because I wanted to jump in right when you said semi-passively. I much prefer the term semi-absentee. I fucking hate the word passive. Sorry, guys. I didn't mean to say the F word there. I hate the term passive, but yeah, I mean, look, there are franchisees that successfully pull off semi absentee, for sure. I just have the belief that most people are going to be more successful if they go in full time, and I think people would actually be better off if they went in full time first, even if for a year,
Mhm.
got things solidified, and then go back and get a job. I actually think that's like probably the better way to do it if you felt like you still needed a job. Anyways, that's a whole nother rant for a whole nother time. um what I forgot to say earlier on was, for those of you who are watching, if you don't get this email in your inbox every Sunday, then go to franchiseempire.com/newsletter, and you'll be able to sign up for free, and you'll be able to get this whole thing in your inbox Sunday morning at 8 a.m., where you can read through it casually on your own time and really take a look and digest it. And there's also this blurb here that I write that we don't go over here. The only way to see that is to be on the list. So with that said, what's funny is when you guys put this in here, and when I was writing my portion, I was like, Fort Worth, Texas. I was like, how long is this thing been available for? It's just funny. Oh, I think I froze. Am I back now?
Yeah, you were I don't know if you were frozen. It was me. I think it was you. So yeah, you were saying it's funny. I
Okay.
was thinking of Fort Worth, Texas, and then you kind of cut out.
Yeah, I was surprised when I saw this in the docket for the newsletter, because I was like, nothing's ever available in Dallas or that area. So it's funny to hear that your reasoning behind it. Obviously, we hadn't talked about that before. So that makes sense. So yeah, to Kevin's point, I mean, look, at the end of the day, there are times where you have to take action quickly if you want something. And like when things run out or there's a limited supply of it. And I know just from having, you know, constant discussions with Kevin and the team, and there are certain markets that sell out first whenever like brands are launched, and like the Dallas Fort Worth area is at the top of the list.
Yep,
um so they rarely have things available, even with, right, like emerging brands, right, Kevin? Like that sells out quickly.
for sure. Yeah, I mean just a challenging market. So again, if you're interested in home services and you're in that area, I would suggest taking a flyer on this and seeing what you can learn. Because it's a great brand, and again, they've got a huge presence there. Just the overall franchise system. So I wouldn't yeah, yeah. Anyways, I don't need to go on a rant there, but it's a good opportunity.
Boom. All right, guys. So if you want to inquire about this specific opportunity, you can go to, I'm trying to find my thing, where you go to franchiseempire.com/resales, enter your info, and then you'll be able to schedule a call with the team, and the team can put in an inquiry on your behalf to get you connected to this specific opportunity. Or even if you're not in Dallas and you're not trying to inquire about this specific franchise, if you just want to know what, if any, resales are available in your area and your market, then go to there, fill it out. You can schedule a call with the team. So, ready to rock and roll. Let's see. Okay. We're gonna move on from there. If I can figure out, I'm like, my ADD right now is just like going all over the place. I'm looking at the comments. Nice. Jeremy, did you just enroll with us? Did you just sign up? That name sounds familiar. Did you just join ZTPF? He said I had to talk with Dan earlier.
I'm sorry you had to talk with Dan, Jeremy. You get to talk with me next, most likely. So
You get a sense of Kevin's sense of humor too.
yeah.
If that's the case, welcome. welcome to the family, man. Cool. Well, client case study, Kevin, I'm gonna let you rock and roll with this one, because you're the one that's had 99% of the interactions with Greg and Julie. But you want to kind of tell their story?
Yeah. Speaking of challenging markets, Atlanta is one of those markets. So DFW, Atlanta, Orlando, those are all markets where, franchises get taken pretty quickly. So Greg and Julie were in the Atlanta area, and they actually realized that was going to be a little bit of a challenge, but they were open to types of franchises, which is great. That helps open up the pool of opportunities we can potentially explore. Really interesting background. Julie, successful entrepreneur, built a senior care business from scratch, a non-franchise. Greg, very successful in his career in a sales and recruiting position. They also owned a lot of real estate investments. Just awesome people, awesome candidates overall. And so they really wanted something where Greg and his son actually were going to both be involved in the business where they could utilize their sales skills. And so we looked at a number of different opportunities, but they pretty quickly landed on a power washing franchise that is focused on commercial B2B. And so a lot of B2B sales acumen is required to build that franchise. And so that's what kind of drew them to that. And just this, simplicity of the service offering. So again, they had, like I said, Julie was experienced, proven entrepreneur, but they decided to go down the franchise path for this next venture. I don't know what else I'm missing. I think that's it, but they're going to go through training here soon and dive right into the business. I'm super excited for them. It's a perfect fit.
Yeah, and Greg's a trip. I mean, we for our clients that are in our Zero to Profitable Franchise Mastermind, I host a weekly group call where everyone can come on, ask questions, interact, and Greg's just always funny. He's like dropping jokes, just like a real awesome kind of fun guy overall. But just to piggyback on kind of what Kevin said, and then we'll dive into the franchise that shows the 2.2 million in average sales with the strong franchise brand, is that one of the common things that we hear that you as in the person listening or watching may experience is that you may be on the fence of like, should I buy a franchise? Should I start a business? And you feel like you need clarity and certainty on that now. Totally get it. Number one, most of the people we work with, I'd say probably 70% or so are kind of in that scenario. And here's the analogy that I use is that let's say as an example, you're standing on a corner and you're looking at two houses next to each other. And you're like, should I buy that house or should I buy that house? And I'd be like, I have no idea. I mean, have you looked inside the houses? And you're like, no, I'm just standing here. Should I buy that house or that house? And it's like, well, you're not going to know until you do what? Until you go in the house and you take a tour and you look at the stuff. And then at that point, you would probably have a pretty good idea of which house that you want to buy. So that's the analogy of should I buy a franchise versus start a business? The only way to know if you should or shouldn't buy a franchise is by actually working with professionals, seeing what franchises are, number one, available in your area that align with your budget and your financial situation, meaning that like you can afford, that align with your skill sets, and then actually getting in a conversation with those franchises to learn more about the brand and talk to the franchisees in the brand. Until that moment, you are not going to know. I mean, some of you may go, you already know, like, hey, I want to buy franchise. I like the idea of the proven system. And I'm talking to the folks who are saying, I don't know which way I should go. It's just impossible for you to know if you're on the fence like that until you actually start test drive it, look in the house. And sometimes people go, after they do that, they go, okay, it's not for me. Great. Awesome. That's cool. But at least you did the proper research to understand if it's for you or not. One last analogy, and then we'll move on, is when I used to work in banking, they would say, don't underwrite the deal. Like people have to put in an application. Don't underwrite the deal. Obviously, like unless someone had like a bankruptcy or something that was obvious. But it's like until you put in a loan application, and the underwriters look at it, I don't know if you're going to get approved. Like I have no idea. So it's like, don't try to underwrite franchises until you talk to the franchisor and talk to the franchisees. After that, you're going to know. And if it's a no, great. That's awesome. Now at least you know with some sort of certainty and having some sort of data and experience to back it up. Oh, that's my that's
No,
my jam.
yeah.
Were you going to say something there?
Oh no, I was just agreeing with you. But yeah, we can. All right, let's. We can talk about the franchise of the week here. So this one is called CertaPro Painters. This is a franchise we've covered many times, but they are one of the more well-established home services franchises in the industry. Probably the biggest painting franchise. They've been around since 1971. They have, I don't know, probably close to 400 units throughout North America at this point. But basically, what CertaPro does is residential and commercial painting. They do interior and exterior painting services as well. So, total investment for this business, if you're starting new, is between 171,000 and 246. They a lot of that is just working capital that they want you to have on hand, as well as marketing that you're going to spend to start generating leads pretty quickly. They use subcontractors for the actual painting services. So think of yourself as almost like a general contractor, where you're going to go out, meet with customers, sell the projects, and then manage the projects from start to finish, collect payment, collect reviews, things like that. But all of your actual painters are subcontractors, unless you want to eventually bring those in-house as W-2 employees. So for those reasons, it's something you can start from your home. You don't need an office or a warehouse. You don't need a bunch of equipment like ladders or painting supplies or anything like that, because you're subbing all that out. But yeah, that's pretty much the gist of what they do. If we look at their numbers here, so really strong from a financial perspective. So they talk about production year one. So this is if like you signed the franchise agreement in 2022 and 2023 was your first year in business. That's the way I read this. Is that how you read it, Tarek? Yeah. Okay. So they're saying first year in business and production for 12 to 20, first year to two in business. So they're saying top third of performers average 425,000 in revenue. Mid is 411 and bottom 321. So pretty consistent there. So overall, it's about 386. And then if you look at, let's see here, what is the second chart? What am I reading here?
So second chart is year two. The first chart was just year one.
I gotcha. Okay. So year two bumps up to 931, 662, and 466. So an average of 686,000. But then if you scroll down, you look at beyond 2 years, that's what, yeah, okay, here we go. So beyond 2 years, the average overall is 2.2 million, with the top third averaging 4.59 million. So you can see it, you do pretty well the first couple of years. That's not bad. But then, the leap is after year two, it looks like. So this one, again, like I think the margins are pretty good on this business, because you don't have much overhead. You don't have an office space. You're operating out of your home. But they have a pretty good national brand recognition. They do really well with the marketing. So the pay-per-click advertising, print and mailers, getting your name out there. They do have a lot of resale opportunities. So we've helped 2 different people within the last year buy resales for CertaPro. Because they're so well established. They do have people that are approaching retirement or wanting to get out of the business for whatever reason. So depending on your market, a resale could be a really good path for CertaPro. Or you start with a new unit and you keep your eyes on resale opportunities that might pop up around you. But yeah, this one's a stable industry. Painting's not going anywhere. A lot of residential and commercial applications for this. So you really need to find good salespeople and or be a good salesperson yourself as the owner to drive that growth in the business right away. But yeah, that's pretty much it for CertaPro. Really strong brand. What did I miss there, Tarek?
Yeah. CertaPro. It's funny because we've covered resales a few times with them, but we never had actually covered it in like the entirety. So a couple things that to point out. I mean, Kevin hit on all the like core concepts of the business. Is that, and I was just thinking about it. Some people, especially if you've watched this newsletter a bunch of times, you may realize they don't really ever talk about like retail franchises. Um, and part of that's intentional is because the risk and reward for service, it just is drastically better. And especially when you look at the sales to investment ratios. And by not having to sign a 10-year lease that you personally guarantee, that's $4, 5, $6,000 a month more. It's just not as scary. Number one. Number two, if you do a retail based franchise, food or whatever it is, you require like Class A real estate. It's going to take about a year to get open, and what we find oftentimes is the people that we work with, they don't want to wait a year to get open and start running their business. So think about it like, okay, even like the mid third, the very first year, like if you've never started a business before, or maybe you've had some side hustles, and like, I know for me, I mean, I hadn't made more than 25 grand in 1 year in any of the side hustles that I had prior to franchising. Like, imagine how crazy would that be? Your year one in business to do $411,000 in sales. Get this, even if you're only break even that year, like even if you didn't actually make a profit, like you are now running a business that has the foundation to build and grow on, and you're doing $400,000 in sales. Like, it's mind blowing. And I know for us that first year when we did 470, it was mind blowing to me. The confidence that it gives you if you've done things and it hasn't worked out in the past is honestly mind blowing. Because I know for me it was personally. And then this supports what it is that I always tell people, is that it takes 3 years for your business to reach maturity. 3, I'm like going the wrong way. It takes 3 years for your business to reach maturity. And the best analogy is, for those of you who have kids, think about the first 2 years of your kids' lives. They are literally dependent on you for everything, you know, feeding, cleaning, even, I mean, our daughter's almost 2.5 now. And it's like, even sometimes you got to help her get off the stool, helping her go up and down the steps. There's still a lot that we're helping her with. Get in and out of the bathtub. Like, something changes around year 3 with your kids where they're able to start communicating with you more clearly. You can kind of have conversations with them. And so a business is similar. And, I know that it's so tempting to be like, oh, I just want to make a lot of money quickly. But you rob yourself. If you are not doing something because in year 1 you want to make all the money and you want all the reward in year 1, you're robbing yourself of what you can achieve in 3 years or in 5 years by having a shiny object, instant gratification mindset. So go into it with, hey, I'm curious what I'll do in year 3. Because look how drastic. Now, granted, this is 25 months or more, so it's including people that have been in business for 10 years or so. But the numbers are just significantly different. And so where did we get the 2.2 million number? Just to support our title, you can see average production, year 3 average revenue for all 2.2 million. I could have used the 4.5 million number. I didn't. Could have used So anyway, so that's kind of my thing. Is like, I want to just share that gift with you guys of like, don't have the instant gratification mindset, because it costs you more. What happens is you don't do anything. And so like, maybe you would have done something 3 years ago and now today you'd be at that point. But because you wanted instant gratification 3 years ago, you didn't do anything. And so now you're still sitting in your situation right now and nothing's changed. You can't avoid the year 1 and year 2. Even when you buy a resale, it's still hard. And there's different challenges with that. So that's the kind of the main message I wanted to get across there. Anything to add on that point, Kevin, before we tell people that they can go to franchiseempire.com/check territory to see if it's available in their area?
No, I mean, it's legit advice. I 100% agree. I mean, just I always just tell people, like, even if it's a resale or whatever, like, it's not going to be easy either path you go. I was just having a conversation this morning. It's so funny you're talking about this because I'm like, just because you look at a resale does not mean it's going to be easy or smooth. Like you're going to have to work your ass off. Shit's going to go wrong. You might lose an employee that's a key employee. Like it's just going to be hard. And so, but it's so rewarding and you'll learn so much that first year or two in business. And it's like, not only will your kid mature, like as a business, your business, aka your kid, but also you're going to get so many at bats on things that when you're working in a corporate setting, you have no experience doing, like none. You just have no exposure to it. And the only way you will is if you just step into it. So, yeah, I 100% agree with your message there.
Boom. Let's go. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So as I said before, if let me see if I have if you want to see if there's a CertaPro available in your area, go to franchiseempire.com/check territory and the team can see if that's the case. Or if you just want to find out, hey, what franchises are available in my area that align with my budget and my financial situation, that align with my skill sets, that are available in my area, then you can do that. This is not a click of a button thing. In order for us to check, we need to have a conversation with you. We need to talk to you about what your budget is, and talk through those things before we can then figure out what franchises we're even checking to see are available. Okay, so just make sure we have that cleared up. Last but not least, and I think we accidentally had this in the last newsletter, maybe not, but I had done a live training about recession proof franchises in 2024. Actually, I talk about 4 specific ones and I break down the business and the numbers and kind of like how we do it here. Actually, it's me doing that for 4 specific businesses. So I'd highly recommend checking out that. How do I hide this thing? My goodness. Okay, there we go. I highly recommend checking out this episode. So number one, you can go, all of our podcasts are on a different YouTube channel. It's not on the Tarek Johnson channel. It's on the Franchise Empire Show. So go type in a YouTube, the Franchise Empire Show, subscribe to that channel, and you'll be able to watch the podcast there or wherever you digest your podcast information is where it's there. And I actually think soon, because Josh and I just talked about this, I think we're going to pivot back to the Zero to Profitable Franchise podcast because I think it's more representative of what people want, and we're going to merge them. And that's what the podcast is going to be called, actually. So why I said that publicly when we didn't finalize it, we did actually, Josh and I finalized the decision. We just haven't finalized the implementation. So that's the visionary in me, right, Kevin? Like saying stuff before stuff's figured out.
I'm sure Josh loved that you did that. So
Josh is listening like,
I mean, I don't care. We're wired the same way. We're like, we'll figure it out. But yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Cool. Anything else to add before we rock and roll, Kevin?
I don't think so. I don't see any questions in there. But thanks for the shout outs to John and Jeremy. But yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah, cool. And guys, by the way, real quick, we haven't talked about the Franchise Buyers Academy in a while, but there's a lot of you that want like really basic information about franchises. You're just like, I'm still just trying to learn the basics. Like, how do you make money? How does it work? What are the different options out there? The Franchise Buyers Academy is epic. It breaks it all down for you, like all of the basics, how you make money. We pull up FDDs. We show you how you would scale the business, who you would need to hire. It's like a really great crash course. So you can go to franchiseempire.com/FBA to enroll in that. It's a whopping, it's really expensive. It's $27. I know it'll break the bank. I know you might have to cut back on some dinners in order to grab it. But
where
I think it'll give you the say it again.
Yeah, I said, where are you eating dinner? What dinner can you get for $27 now?
Oh man, I know. Inflation's rough. All right, y'all. franchiseempire.com/FBA. See y'all on the next one. Peace
All
out.
right. Later.